something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Hey everyone, how are you? All right. We the people have had enough, correct? Not the people who watch TV, not the people who listen to the politics, but we, the patriots, we, the awakened ones, we, the people who know what the fuck is going on. We are sick of being lied to. We have had enough. We're sick of sitting around trusting the plan while our parents, our children, our spouses, our family members, our friends die. We're sick of them being homeless, jobless, no food, no support. We are sick of it. We trusted the plan. What has the plan got us? Worse. We wanted, we hoped, we prayed that the white hats would help us. Instead, while they're fighting evil, they stood by and watched us die. People say we're prisoners, we're casualties of war. Does that mean we just have to sit on our hands and trust others to pick up the pieces for us? This Sunday, 8 a.m. Sydney time, Sunday, 18th of August, at 8 a.m. Sydney time, which will be Saturday, the 17th of August at 6 p.m. New York time, I'm going to do a live stream to the White Hats. And I would like as many people to join as possible. If you are sick of being tortured, being murdered, knowing the med beds are there that can heal you and your family, knowing that the humanitarian funds are there and can save this entire planet, then please join me on my YouTube channel, here on this channel. I know there are several top white hats that watch my channel because of something Elon Musk said the other day. So I know they will hear it. They will see it. If you can share this message to as many people as possible, in as many groups as possible, and jump online during the live stream and share your thoughts in the comments, please, just maybe they might finally give a shit about us. Some people will say, oh, this has to happen, that has to happen. So should we sit around and die and suffer and be tortured just because another has to happen? When is enough enough? It's time our voices were heard. It's time we came together as a collective for humanity, for ourselves, for our children, for our future. people say, remember, we're in this for the children. What are you going to tell your children when they grow up? Mummy and Daddy sat on their hands and trusted the plan while the world around us burned to the ground. Because we trusted. We chose not to do anything. Not good enough. This is our freedoms we're talking about. This is our future. This is our children, our grandchildren's future. Are you happy and content to tell your kids you sat and did nothing? Or are you ready to stand and take your freedoms back and let the White House know that we have had enough? Because we have.
We have, haven't we?
We're tired of not being able to pay our bills. We're tired of not being able to afford food. We're tired of not being able to pay our rent or our mortgage, our car payments. We're tired of living in tents. We're tired of just having nothing except the bridge to keep. We're tired. And we have had enough. And it's about time every single person took a stand and stood up for themselves instead of sitting on your hands saying, the white hats are our saviors. No, they're not. We are our own saviors, and it's about time we all realize that. So please join me. Again, Sunday, the 18th of August, 8 a.m. Sydney time, which will be Saturday, the 17th of August, 6 p.m. New York time. Please join me here on my channel. And let's make our voices heard.
Absolutely. That's Sky Prince and a heartfelt message to the White Hats, should they exist. Yes, they are on their own time frame by the look of things, but how many people have to die? She's very correct in what she's saying there. If they have the ability to stop that now, if the med beds are in existence now, then bring them on. This madness has to stop. I counter that with the argument they will say, and that is that there are more unawake than there are awakened people. This will create more division, more civil disturbance, if not civil war in some cases, because it will open a new front, not just the cabal fighting, but the people as well, because there will be those on the other side who will fight just as hard as we will on ours. And I think that is what is trying to be avoided at all costs, man killing man, unrestrained. At least with the military, there is some, we say, a modicum of restraint. But is it really? Is it really? Anyway, I commend you to go and check out Sky's live that will happen 8 a.m. Sunday morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I've been posting it up in the chat from the get-go. I've just done it there again now. So if you would like to be on that and lend your support to the message she's putting out to the White Hats, then see you there. It'll be I dare say, a pretty big stream. And good luck to her. She's doing a great job. So awesome stuff. Right, Friday Free For All. How are you all this very fine evening? It's been a hell of a day for me. I bought some chaps. No, not those kind of chaps. Sorry, girls. Oh, I guess no, let's not. Chainsawing kind of chaps, because there's going to be a lot of chainsawing in my future, in the very near future. But I got a hell of a deal on a pair of chaps today. I think we comment maybe this time last week about chaps and the cost of them. They wanted more for a pair of chaps than I paid for the bloody chainsaw, like quite a lot more. Could not believe it. Well, today I found a pair of chaps. They're still chaps, so they're good. And they were on sale, which is even better. And they were on sale at a ridiculously get-out-of-the-store price. And I happened to walk in at the right time. So there you go. Any thoughts of cutting a leg off may well be averted. I might cut somebody else's leg off, but not my own. That's at least a good start. Thank you to those folks who've emailed through to want to come out and help on the property and get into some sawing and mulching. I'm having a meeting over the weekend with the two ladies responsible for the property, the one being Cass, the other being Samantha. And Sam Backman is a wonderful woman who I want to have on this show so badly, but nailing her down for just one chat would be very difficult. So we might do what we do in a recorded sense, one table at her place, and she can tell you very interesting stories about her life. But she does this property, and I will pass everybody's name along to her and number, and it'll be her or Cass that gets a hold of you to figure out dates, times, and places. Now, I can tell you at the moment that myself and another guy will go mad with a chainsaw over the weekend and the next few days, and saw as much up as we possibly can, because believe it or not, we can't saw it fast enough to keep up with the mulcher. Who knew? And the mulcher is a beast of a thing. Where we sawed up some wood the other day, there's probably 2-3 ton of wood there. It took us, I don't know, an hour to saw it all up, and it'll take maybe 10 minutes in the mulcher to get all of that turned into beautiful mulch. So we've got to get a fair bit lined up so we can get ahead of the mulcher for when we have people out here to help. So more news on that on Monday. But if you are interested in the work, and it's going to be an ongoing thing, we have a lot of wood here, and understand that people might come for a day or 2 days or a week or whatever. You can't donate your life to this. However, if you do come out and you've got something to stay in, like a caravan or a tent, then you will be able to stay on the property for nothing, and you'll get the hourly rate that they're putting up as well. And we're not planning on working, 10, 12-hour days. We don't want to work anybody into the ground, and we're going to do things safely. So bear all that in mind. But there may be opportunities spread out over the next 6, 8, 10 weeks for you, if you happen to be coming or thinking you might be coming this way, and you want to come onto the property, get a bit of wood, and help with what we're doing. Then Carl@vofhq.com. And you'll go into a group of emails that I'll forward off to the girls. Their property, essentially. So I'll let them look after that end of it. But I will be around to help for a portion of this, and then I'm going to hit the road and head north, potentially with a tag along. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how all that goes. But he's making noises like he's going to come. So aren't you harm? Fingers crossed. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of saying hello to folks, padding a little bit because Darren Bergwerf is going to be on the show tonight. I've already got Tim sitting in the green room, but there are a few comments that I wanted to take note of tonight. G'day to Toxic, who was first in tonight. Scotty is in Hervey Bay, very nice part of the world. Say hi to Dan, to Di and Ron at the Pier House, a marvelous place. It's a B&B if you, their place. Beautiful home, beautiful pool, and beautiful people. And you can look at the Pier House up online. Just tell them Carl sent you. They are the most wonderful folks. And if you are looking for a place in Hervey Bay to stay, go and check out the Pier House. Truly beautiful. I can't remember the dog's name. Might come back to me. Fuel is a thing. I noticed it today on the Gold Coast. I had to go down into town. And $1.71, and I thought bloody cheap. Jack's telling me up further north, 172.4, 172.9. Diesel seemed to be well under $2 as well in a few places around here. So fingers crossed it stays that way in your part of the world as well. Now, Timmy Wilson, I am very happy to hear this news, back in a bed. Folks may or may not be aware of Tim. I really wish I could have helped out more, but he's got a fifth wheeler that, due to a circumstance involving some, uniformed supposed authority figures, not police, I don't think, but more parks people, moved him on from where he was camped up. He was on some pretty heavy meds at the time, and they insisted that he hook up and leave, and he zigged when he should have zagged, and hit it by that much, not missed it, and collected a low bridge warning sign, which was okay, better than collecting the bridge, I guess, but it did wipe out the whole front of his fifth wheeler, or the top of it, and certainly sides. I've got images, but I haven't got his permission to show them, so I won't. But he's been working now for, well, I don't know how long, to get that repaired, fix that up. And of course, the whole front area was where the bedroom, bathroom sort of thing area is, I think, in his anyway. And it's been a hell of a battle for him. So, Tim, I am so pleased to hear that you're at a position now. You got waterproof the other day, and now you're in a position to get a bed back in position. So, bloody awesome for you, mate. I'm wrapped for you. Michelle, $1.84 in Gippy. Hey, Michelle, are you coming to the My Place events? A long way, maybe, from where you are in Gippsland up to near Echuca for the My Place camp out. But I'm going to be coming back down through Gippsland, I think, and heading up the south coast of New South Wales on my way back. So that being the case, we're going to catch up in whatever town you're in, and we'll hang out a day or two and see if there's a few more like-minded folks who want to catch up around that area. Love to come down. I've got to be honest, I have never been further east than Traralgon. I'm pretty confident that's about as far east in Victoria. Up that road I've been. I've never been to Lakes Entrance, or if I have, I don't remember it. I vaguely recall a car trip once where I sort of went that way, found Bow River, who knew? And little place right on the border somewhere, beautiful little town. So I've determined that I want to come when we leave the great My Place Victorian camp out on the 2nd of December. We'll head down into Melbourne or skirt Melbourne, and maybe catch up with a few folks who we weren't able to catch up with at that camp out. Probably down Frankston Way with Mr. B and co, and then head out through Gippsland. So I'd love to catch up with you there and then. So send me an email. You're 40 minutes from Traralgon. Okay, well, send me an email, carl@vofhq.com, and let's link up. That would be awesome. I see now that Mr. Bergwerf has arrived at his place this evening. Now, before I bring him on, because I'll let him order dinner, I know he's going to do that, I'll bring in the bloke who I've spuriously termed Papa Smurf in some of the descriptions this evening. I apologize if that offends you at all. I mean it in nothing but the highest terms. A man of great wisdom and worthy of all our respect, Tim Dwyer. Lovely to have you on, my friend.
Thanks, mate, and I'm not offended one little bit. So Papa Smurf is just fine by me.
I have 6 requests for you to go and play the baby grand piano over your shoulder. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times we have to tell people about this. It's just a background, folks.
It's not just a background picture. Yeah, it's just,
I'm too lazy to put it up.
Photo off the program. So
yeah.
But it's interesting, you know, that those couple of little songs I put out that I wrote.
Yes.
Right? It's amazing. So many people go, geez, I didn't know you could sing. I can't. It's not me singing.
That's right. That's the beautiful thing about AI, isn't it?
Yeah, they can do all sorts of good stuff.
I have started to notice that a lot of the songs that I'm hearing are the same or very similar AI kind of voice.
Yes.
So I have no doubt that will change over time as it acquires more knowledge.
Yes.
All right, I'll bring you. Sorry, mate.
I can't play the piano and I can't sing, so there you go.
That's all right. You write really good words, and the AI does the rest. So the bloke I termed the travelling Wilbury in tonight's Friday night free for all looks a bit more Ned Kelly-ish, I've got to admit. But g'day, DB. How are you tonight?
Good, Carl. How are you, mate?
Mate, very nice part of the world you are in. Do you want to explain tonight which part of the world you're in?
Oh, actually, I'm back in Harndorf at the moment in the Adelaide Hills at the old mill, about to have some dinner. We went to tried to get to Eagle on the Hill restaurant, which I remember going to when I was about 16 when I came to Harndorf to work, and it's closed down. So we got up there and had to do a U-turn and come back.
Oh wow, there you go. I remember that restaurant too. But I also remember the old mill, and that is one hell of a feed you're about to get tucked into. So you've been on a bit of a journey for the last few weeks. You've stopped in at Murray Bridge and Manham and Gawler and God knows where else before you got to the Rock, where you spent a week or two, and then further afield. So what is this? Where is the coldest and best beer, and what else did you learn on your trip?
Look, I couldn't tell you actually. I think they're all pretty similar. But look, I've had a really good, or we've had a really good time. Been on the road about 3 weeks, I think now, 3.5 weeks, and we're heading back to Melbourne on Monday. Obviously, we've got a couple of presentations we're doing. You may or may not be aware of, but we've got one on Saturday night in Adelaide, in Fulham, and then we've got another one on Sunday afternoon. Just out of Harndorf. So Marcel, who's joined our team, we're building our team with my place and the new thing that we're kicking off shortly in the next couple of months, which is Our Place Australia. So we've got a couple of functions on the weekend, and I think we've got about 80 or 90 people coming to each of those at the moment. Before I head back to Melbourne and get back to work.
So, what's the point of the functions? Is this a g'day, shake hands, kiss babies kind of thing, or are you imparting a bit of education here? What's it all about?
Yeah, all the shaking hands and kissing babies, I'm done with that kind of narrative. It's purely the new venture we're working on is my place has become quite convoluted, and we're kind of one end of the Encyclopedia Britannica to the other. And it's people just waking up, they're joining all the time. Like the numbers are growing to people that are way further advanced on this journey than what I am. So what we're trying to do is define our place to be more specific, and it will be it's a PMA basically. Right. But we're building a structure of self-governance and putting education modules together on websites to the re-education of a nation for the ones that are ready. This won't be for everybody, but it will be for people that are ready to be self-governed and learn how we do that, because it's so much involved in the growth that we all need to have to get that mindset of being self-governed and always checks and balances on ourselves to make sure we're always in integrity.
I don't know if you're seeing. Oh, there you go. I'm back. You're back. We're all seeming to be back. Very good. Sorry about that. That'll be to do with my end. Now, you've while it's been a wonderful holiday, if you like, for you, it has been, as you say, an educational experience where you've been putting out. PMA stands for Private Members Association, for those who are unsure how that works. You've been imparting that knowledge, but you have been to the heart of Australia, to Uluru. I'm not sure whether or not you caught up with any of the elders who are custodians of the rock there, but I do know that you, probably better man than me, walked around the rock 11 Ks.
Yeah, we did the 11K walk. I think on the Thursday, the second day we were there, and then the following day we went out to the other range and did another 12 Ks of walking. Did the Valley of the Winds walk, which was absolutely amazing. So we've done, I don't know how many Ks. I reckon I've walked 100 Ks since we've been on this trip, and I've driven probably I don't even know now, probably 4,000 at least.
See, now if you hadn't had 1,700 litres of beer, you may have lost some weight.
I don't even know, mate. I haven't got any scales with us, but no, I'm not drinking that much beer, to be honest.
Good.
But when we got to Alice Springs for 4 days, it was 2 days actually before I could go and top up, because we weren't allowed to buy alcohol on the Tuesday when we rocked into town, and we weren't allowed to buy alcohol on Wednesday until 3 p.m. And then the bottle shops, doesn't matter whether it was a drive-through pub or a bottle shop inside IGA, they're only allowed to be open for, I think, 2 hours. And the roller door went up in the IGA, walked in to get a slab, and there's a police officer sitting at every single bottle shop, the ones outside Woolworths, the ones through the drive-through at the pubs and in the IGA, taking licenses and wanting to know where we're staying before you could actually purchase one.
Wow.
So it was pretty full on.
So we've heard a lot of bad things about Alice Springs in the last couple of months, if I'm honest, with the streets being overrun at night and it being terribly unsafe. Was that your experience?
No, it wasn't my experience at all. It's a pretty sad situation up there. There's a lot of Indigenous that just seem to be aimlessly wandering the streets with no purpose and no direction, just kind of existing. And that's the reason for the alcohol, because they were having a huge amount of trouble with crime and that kind of thing. So that's where they've tightened up on the alcohol. I believe it's made it better. But I certainly didn't feel unsafe or threatened. We walked around the streets, 2 or 3 different days, and I never felt like I was in any kind of danger.
Is it expensive? Is a question. Alcohol?
No, it wasn't that expensive. It was only $50 for a slab of bows, so no different to down here. What was expensive was the roadhouse getting off the Stewart Highway to go out to Ayers Rock. That was $3 a litre for diesel. When we got into Alice Springs, it was down at $2.05, $2.06, which was not too bad. Now we're back in Adelaide; it's about $1.80. So,
yeah, the fuel does seem to be coming down, particularly in the capital cities and further up. We were just saying before in further north in Queensland, $1.72 for petrol and diesel, $1.74. So coming down. So, gentlemen, I just want to introduce to the conversation. It's great to see the both of you sitting here together, but I also know that you've spent a bit of time together recently. And Darren, without going into too much of the stuff that you're looking into, and Tim, for those who are unaware, you're a constitutionalist. Your knowledge of the Red Book is extensive, and better still, your knowledge of the Green Book is pretty good, because that's the way you can pull the differences. We've been talking about our constitutional crisis, I'm going to call it, or it could also easily or aptly be named our constitutional fraud. Now, there are many different people who've been talking about this: Dick Yardley, Tim, Rod Cullerton, Darren, you and I have had long conversations about it. Fitz was into it from a Magna Carta perspective. Stephen Limbreg. There are so many different people who've been working much more extensively and for many more years than I have on all of this. One of my big complaints has been that while you all have great solutions, they're not the ultimate solutions, but I believe everybody has a piece, but everybody was too invested. And Tim, I'll use you as the exception. You've been very welcome, very open and honest to share all your research in any way, and welcome to have it torn down if it's possible. You're welcome and open to the attacks. You don't take it as a personal affront to the 30 or 40 years of research you put into it. Some people, like myself, can be a little harder to get the message, and we ask stupid questions. And you, along with others, are very tolerant of those stupid questions because you get them asked a lot. Now, we've lost Darren, and that might be because his steak has turned up, or I don't know, he's going to come back in. So, yep, there he is. He's back. So, Tim, I know that you've been catching up with Rod Cullerton for the last couple of days, and that Rod will be at the event tomorrow, which you and Darren will both be at. So, I just want to say how really happy I am. I know that you caught up with Dick when you were in Queensland. It's great to see everybody coming together and all those ideas. I'm sure I'd love to be a fly on all of those conversations, because they will be enlightening and extremely educational. And I believe it's from this, sharing of our knowledge, and everybody's knowledge is important. Somewhere in this group, whether it be from the Indigenous side through to the scholarly side, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. We just have to find those pieces and then put them together. And we can't do it while we're crying and saying this is the solution. It's not. It's your solution. It's not the solution. But you have parts of, I think, the whole. And I'm not the arbiter of this, but it's just a logic thing I use. So I want to thank you guys for starting to do this. Is it difficult, Tim, when you might have somebody who's put in 30 years of experience and you put forward an idea that might be contra to theirs?
It's interesting. It's not difficult. It's only difficult if you keep your whole plan in concrete. You've got to be in sand. You've got to be a bit movable here, right? Now,
yes, yeah.
As you said, I've been on this wagon for a long time. Darren, on the other hand, hasn't, but his ability to grasp concepts is enormous. He can listen to people talk on various subjects of law and structure, and he gets it. Yep. And a lot of people can't do what Darren does. And with what Darren's putting together, without me going through any of the detail that he's discussed with me, is the people need an educational structure that is correct, that won't get them into deep water that they can't paddle out of, because with what Darren and the group are trying to put together and will put together is a really, really solid program. From my perspective, and this is what I said to Darren, that yes, I do understand there's aspects of the Constitution that need a lot of work. Then we have a lot of argument about, well, is the Constitution even lawful in the beginning because of the monarchy and so on and so on.
Yep.
If we keep looking that far back, there is no way forward. We can't look at a document and say, well, this is not a bad sort of document, but because this king did that back in the 15th, the document's incorrect. No, we can't go back that far. We have to look forward and and I've always said this, we need a landing place, and I've said this to Darren, and I say it to everybody, we need a landing place that the ordinary Australian can grasp and comprehend. And for me personally, I believe that's our current constitution that the government refused to acknowledge. And from that point, then we need to, I can't alter the Constitution. Darren can't alter the Constitution. None of us can. No. However, we can facilitate the altering of the Constitution by enabling the people to have the knowledge. And this is what Darren's all about, is giving people knowledge. Now, my whole role here is just passing on a little bit of advice left or right. I would love to see the Constitution altered in several ways because of how it's been bastardized by several people and several groups of people. But I don't have the authority or the capacity to do it. It has to be the Australian people. And we need an organisation like Darren and the group are putting together to start the process of enabling people to know where they stand, to know who they are, and once they know who they are and where they actually stand, then if we land on our Constitution, from my perspective, great, then we can alter it. If somebody comes up with something better that the people will accept and it's beneficial to everybody in the country, fine. But we've got to start, and I think what Darren's doing is very commendable. It's going to be a bloody truckload of work, and I don't know whether we all realise how much work just yet. But I'm honoured to be a part of it, even just a small bit that I'll have to play in this, because that's my role. It's about this big. Darren's the one carrying the load. So over to you, Darren.
Thank you, Tim. And look, I concur with the fact that the landing point for the majority of Australians is the 1900 Constitution. And I was at that position when we started our People's Council that we needed to get everyone back and then go on a journey from that of discovery on the truth, because and it doesn't matter what that truth is, but whatever it is, warts and all, we need to discover the actual truth, or as close to the truth as we can, because if we start to rebuild this nation on a lie or a fraud, then I think that's fraught with danger from the start. So regardless of that, and whether we can then reconstitute the 1900, regardless of how it was put in place, and the validity of that constitution, which is still questionable. I'm not saying that it's not valid or it is valid, but we need to discover the truth one way or another. But I do believe that for the majority of the people, they're going to be attracted to that because they are aware of the constitution and where we're going by developing our own, which has already been written, not by me or any, but by someone that's getting some work done to it. But it will be a universal law constitution, more than a natural law. And it's about the private members association that we're building and putting together. It has a purpose, and the purpose is the restoration of equity for the people, but not just the people, for everything on the planet, basically, and trying to, as much as humanly possible over, decades, I'm not talking about overnight, is to get the place back to as natural a state as the Creator intended, which means no more genetically modified people, trying to get rid of the vaccines, trying to get rid of pharmaceuticals, pesticides, poisons in our water, all the things that are having a detrimental effect on the environment, both aesthetically and vibrationally, which means 5G towers, which means wind turbines, all of this shit that we don't need. And I know through some discussions I've had with some very intellectual people that there is plenty of, I don't know, there's stuff hidden behind the scenes, stuff waiting to be released that will solve a lot of the problems. And the hemp industry is one of them, which, Carl, we've been talking about that for 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's also, energy and all of those kind of things. There's technologies that are sitting there waiting to be done once we get some kind of semblance of control back over the corporate criminals. So, I mean, it's, and once again, everyone's, and look, I've changed my position a little bit. I've been pretty staunch in, being pretty confident or strong in believing that we had the correct method. I think that everyone's method is correct, and everyone has their own demographic that are attracted to the information they've got for the position.
That's a good point.
Yep. So I back everybody, and I back what Tim's doing with all the other constitutionalists that are highly respected in this country and know that document inside out and upside down. So I support what they're doing along those lines 100%. Tim's supports what we're doing. They're two different vehicles, but they're travelling in the same direction. And as long as we can keep those vehicles right next to each other in the lanes next to each other and continue to march forward, then at some point it will all come together. But we're just going on a different tangent and doing it in a way where we can educate people to get out of the system, because we don't know how long it's going to take for this constitutional thing to be done, or how long this belligerent government's going to be in place. It might be 12 months, it might be 3 years, it might be 5 years. We're all guessing. I still have no confidence, but I'm still not banking on the plan whatsoever. And I think, just my opinion, but I think so many people are still attracted to the drama and the news cycle. They're still in that loop. What we're trying to do is break out of the loop and bring people that aren't interested in watching the circus or being part of the circus to come on board and help us establish a structure of self-governance and education. So, we're looking at having a senior council of 7 as overseers of the 9 stewards, and each one of our stewards will have a bit of a portfolio. And one of the important things that we believe that we need to do is to re-establish and rebuild the family unit and get rid of the family law court. So that's a portfolio on its own, along with finance and of course law and a few other things. So we're putting something together that's quite easy to do, because when I say easy, as far as regulations go, we're not a country. So we're not trying to institute a constitution for a nation. It is for a PMA, and it's going to be something that I think it's going to attract a lot of people, and the team that we're putting together have a lot of credibility and integrity and humility. And that's why I've been really keen to have Tim on board from day one, because as far as those attributes go, I think Tim he's right at the top of the list.
So Rod Cullerton is likely to turn up at your event tomorrow and possibly over the weekend. That is another very strong concept that's putting forward, and I'm really, I can't tell you how happy I am that that all of you are coming together and talking about these things. So, Darren, I know you've got a steak coming or something similar. It might be a bratwurst in half, and you've been talking for an hour, so we're not.
Yeah. We've lost you, mate.
What was that? Sorry, Carl, I missed that bit.
Said I'll let you go off and have dinner. I've forgotten what I was going to ask you now. After
no, it's nothing to do with Rod Cullerton, but
yeah,
I've never met.
Catching
Rod,
up.
But go ahead.
Where is the event? Where are the events happening in Adelaide or in the hills over the weekend?
Okay, so it's in Fulham on Saturday night from 6 till 10. I don't know the actual address off the top of my head, and it's in Ichunga, which is about it's about 10 minutes out of Harndorf on Sunday afternoon from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 6 p.m. I'm actually looking forward to catching up with Rob.
That'll be an afternoon.
Yeah, it will be, and then Sunday night we'll be no doubt getting out for dinner. So, I'm actually looking forward to catching up with Rod because, like I said, I've never met him, and I think Rod's what I see at the moment is that everybody that's had these solid positions are really starting to have their more of an open mind and starting to realise that there might be a few things that they believe that may not be the case, and I think if everybody starts to move in that direction, and we actually start to respect each other's position and continue forward to discover the truth, and I think Rod's more in that probably frame of mind now than he's ever been. I can't speak for him, but I am looking forward to catching up to him tomorrow.
All right, mate. Well, you go off and have a bratwurst and enjoy the night with Anna. Thank you for sharing a bit of time with us on a Friday night while you're actually on holidays. So I really appreciate it, and looking forward to catching up with you when we get to Victoria at the end of November for the big Victorian campout. Now, I know you have booked about 20 sites. That's, you do nothing on a small scale. So I know where my site is. I've got mine. So, but I've got a view of a horse paddock. So at least I'm not going to be kept up by you rowdy bastards all night.
Nah, look, we're going to have probably 400 to 500 My Place people going to that event up at Wackety Creek near Echuca, late November, early December. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And like I said, really looking forward to advancing the My Place model and getting people onto a specific kind of journey of building the future that they want, building our own reality and not living someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, go and enjoy dinner with the other half.
All right, enjoy the rest of your show, and good. I'll see you tomorrow, Tim, and thanks for your time, Carl.
Thanks, Darren.
No worries, mate. Good luck.
Cheers.
And safe trip home, mate. Safe trip home. My best to Anna. And you, sir, well, you're going to have a fairly busy weekend of it too, by the sound of it.
Yeah, we are.
Before
Now,
we go, I've had it crawling. Sorry.
I just got a couple of
You go.
addresses here for the weekend. So on Sunday, right, at 1:15 for a 1:30 start at the Echunga Memorial Institute, 25 Adelaide Road, Echunga. That's out in the Adelaide Hills near Hahndorf. And then on Saturday, tomorrow, 6:15 for a 6:30 start at the Fulham Community Centre, 19 Fitch Road, Fitch, Fitch Road, Fulham. And both of those sessions will be really good. So if there's anybody floating around SA, I'd highly encourage you to turn up. I really would. And so, yeah.
I think that you'll find, from what I understand, there is quite a large My Place grouping, if you like, in and around Adelaide, a very strong group. So I would hope that, it's, and I hope somebody films it, because I think some of the discussions, some of the views put forward, and the discussions that happen after that will be very interesting for those of us that have a constitutional interest in the country, and what will come after what we currently have, because God knows what we currently have has been bastardized in so many unlawful ways. It's almost beyond repair, in my opinion.
Well,
but
it is. That's why it has to be scrapped. What they're doing at the moment has to be just totally scrapped and go back to the beginning, and let's go again. So, but one of the things, Carl, that I'll be putting forward some different sorts of videos in the next few weeks, trying to help people grasp the concept of we can't keep thinking the same thoughts that we've thought for the last 2, 3, 4 years and expecting to live in a different way. No matter what it is we do, if we're still stuck in this negative emotional trap that they put us in, and we want to move out of it, we have to change the way we think, which will change the way we feel, which will change the way we speak, which will change the way we act, which will give us a different result, which will change our lifestyle. And I've done a lot of work on this over the years. I used to do seminars around the country on all this sort of stuff in a different lifetime. And I realized that we are in perilous times that is designed to keep our vibration down. This world was created by mathematics and harmonics, and the highest level of harmonics and vibration creates beauty and joy and peace and happiness, and the lower vibration brings sickness, disease, anger, all this sort of stuff. We have to go through and lift our vibration, and in doing that we'll find that our life will lift. And so I just want to encourage all the people that are on tonight to just do a little thing for me which will help you, right? So let's do this. There's a process called EFT. I'm not going to go into EFT, but it's a tapping thing. You tap. And there's the karate chop point on your hand, right there. So if I tap on there and do an affirmation that I am joyful, I am happy, I am calm and relaxed. And if you do that probably 8 or 9 times and then take a big deep breath and just sit there and feel how your emotions change, because by tapping on this point, it shuts down the negative little voice that I call wah-wah, because wah-wah's in your head all the time going, oh, what a lot of crap, you can't do this, you're stuck here, you're busted, you're broke, you can't do this, you can't do that. Wah-wah is, he just wants to be comfortable. He doesn't want to be, want you doing anything new. That shuts wah-wah down. And understand this, people. It is your subconscious must take you in the direction of your most dominant emotional thought. whether that's joy, peace, and happiness, or fear, anger, and disease. I don't know, your choice. So I just want to encourage everybody tonight to do a little bit of tapping and do some positive affirmations for yourselves and have a great weekend. I'm going to have a great weekend. I've got Rod Cullerton's bus out the front, and he's out there at the moment talking to people.
See if you
and
can get
doing
him to
stuff.
play that piano.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's really interesting. You know, I mentioned my little songs before. I gave Rod one of those songs and gave him the right to use it. And God, that's getting some reaction. He loves it. And I think it's had about 36,000 views since he played.
That's great.
You know, we're all having fun out here. Yeah, we're all having fun. And it's, look, we've got to be prepared to take the mickey out of each other. Don't set your head in cement. Do you no good. It'll blow you up. Keep your plans in sand.
100%. Yeah, be in sand. And if you want to go and check out more of Tim's Truth, you can do so at Tim's Truth. It's on rumble.com. And just type in Tim's Truth, all one word, into the search bar, and you will find this man who has such brilliant concepts and ideas and brings them to fruition, which is important. I'm a brilliant man who has great concepts and ideas who can't bring them to fruition, although this one seems to be going all right. And I'm getting much better at exactly what you've been saying. It's very easy because I have a sense of humor that may lean on the dark side, that I take a negative view for a humor perspective. It's not necessarily how I think, but I understand that that can be reinforcing the negative thoughts. So I have to stop doing that as well.
All righty. Well,
so much to learn.
Carl, thank you so much.
I'll do a bit of tapping here, mate.
Oh, yeah, mate. That's a very important point. That point there, tapping here. Yeah, it works. Anyway, thank you so much for having me on. I do appreciate the time that you allow us. And I am really, really excited to see where we go to next, because we are in an exciting time of life. We now we get to create our own best future. We create it. I don't know whether the white hats are going to come and help, whether they're even there or not. I don't know. And I really don't care, because it's up to you and me to create our best future. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. Have a good night, a good weekend, and my best to your lovely other half, Corinne.
Thank you, mate. Blessings to everybody. Good night.
All right, see you. And be careful around the bar with that Bergwerf fella. He can be dangerous. See you, mate. Tim Dwyer, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And he actually had to hand off karate duties this evening to Corinne so that he could join us. So that means he was taking the grandkids to karate, usually on a Friday night. So Corinne had to step up and thank her for doing that. There are a couple of little things that I thought I would show you tonight to give you a bit of a smile, at least. This, I think, is probably one of the more interesting things that has popped up. A meme. This is just part one of, and I think there are three, at least, different parts of this. Medalists at the games. And that meme couldn't be truer. It's almost like a ritual or something, but that's just a conspiracy. I thought that was pretty good. There is this one, which I really like. You will eat the steaks. You will drive your gas guzzler. You will heat your home. You will use cash notes. You will travel at your leisure. And you will disobey the globalists. All power to the butchers, I say. All power to the butchers. So, just a couple of little things to give you a bit of a smile on the way out. I trust you will have a good weekend. I will be possibly tomorrow at some stage. I will be doing a Rumble-only show. So that you have to go over and find the Voice of Freedom on Rumble. If you don't know, rumble.com is the place to go to, and just type in Voice of Freedom. And we should pop up. Don't forget to like and subscribe, whatever channel you're watching now. But if you're not already over at the Rumble channel, I would suggest that you subscribe to that, because less and less, I'm going to start dropping off some of the places that I stream to, because That is part of the reason I have a bandwidth issue. I'm streaming at the moment. I'm streaming to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different places, 8 different channels, if you like. Some of them, only 2 of them are YouTube. So we're going to try and thin that down a bit, and I'll try and make it so I bring it down to maybe 3 channels, which will be or 4 channels, 2 YouTube and 2 Rumble channels, and try and focus those, get a little away from the Facebook and all that sort of stuff. I will keep Project Matilda going, of course. And if you haven't been over to Project Matilda, can I push you that way? Go and experience it. It's Facebook, but basically it's created by an Australian bloke, fella in Perth, lovely bloke called Daniel, and it's created with his own dollars. He's been able to develop it from nothing into what now is a brilliant little streaming platform, but he needs your support, needs you to come and be part of it, needs you to help build his community. So if you haven't been to projectmatilda.com, please go and register. I've been very lax for the folks that follow the Voice of Freedom channel there, in that I haven't been on doing things and posting things, because it leans itself to me more like shorts and that sort of stuff. And I have to figure out how to do it from my phone, where I can throw up a little bit more of that sort of stuff, like I do occasionally on the YouTube channel. We're going to tighten all that end of it up in the not too distant future, but we have priorities. One of those priorities got cleaned up today to a point. When I say cleaned up, I mean got rectified. And this is one of the things that has actually been holding me back from hitting the road. Over the weekend, at some stage, you may see some vision of it, because I need to do a little bit of work on it. And we'll post that up, and I'll explain what's going on there. But keep an eye out for a couple of little things over the weekend. There may even be some chainsawing content, because that's the plan for tomorrow. I've got to spray some horrendous bloody weedy things for about an hour in the morning, and then I'm donning the chaps and picking up the Husqvarna and heading out. So we shall see what happens there. I did star a couple of comments that I just wanted to go back to. Paul Revere, you're saying John Wilson has the best idea. Well, that may be great, but John Wilson doesn't share his ideas unless you have, given your name and details to him and agreed to all his terms and conditions and have not dissented. John Wilson does not reply to emails, does not reply to texts. And if he has an idea, I couldn't tell you what it is. So I'm sad about that, but it is what it is. Michelle Bradley Smith, what are you thinking, girl? Bloody heck. If you choose to go to ainslieBullion.com.au, or maybe pop into their Melbourne or Brisbane offices and buy some gold or silver rounds, in this case for Michelle, please, you only have to do it once, right? Just once. You don't have to do it every time. If you bought previously, you will go into the system and your name is marked in their system then. So every order after the first one, you will automatically have the discount applied. But you must do it the first time. And Michelle, it looks like you've shot out of the blocks a bit early and bought some silver rounds and forgot to mention. Well, it's not a look. Don't think you're going to save $25. You're not. It's nothing like that. There is no money in selling. There is money in buying, but there's no money in selling. And even then, there's only a very little bit of money in the exchange of buying, because eventually it's only worth what it's worth. An ounce of gold or silver is worth what an ounce of gold or silver is worth. And the business has to make a profit. Otherwise, there is no business. So that doesn't mean they make a killing out of you. They don't. But they have set rates and all that sort of stuff, as any bullion dealer does. So I know that some people have complained to me, oh, gee, I went to sell and they charged me this. Well, if you can get a better deal, go somewhere else. But trust me, if your name is marked as a Voice of Freedom person, they will do everything they can for your business at the best possible rates they can. Okay? That is their promise to me and my promise to you. And I was texting briefly with Michael today. They have had a great show. They've been at the Ekka for the last couple of weeks. I think the Ekka's winding up. Might possibly be winding up this weekend. I didn't get there because I was sick for the first week and didn't want to go there and catch something and be sick for the rest of this week. So that's why that never happened. But I will be popping into the office maybe next week and catching up with them. And we are hopeful of organising a trip into the vault so that I can show you exactly what a secure vault looks like. It should be pretty interesting. Toxics come up with one here. The Governor General is the one that puts politicians, judges in indirect power. Yeah, yes. I think Vince answered that one better. The Governor General is not valid. We have no Governor General, and that new thing that they're going to put into there is, aside from an embarrassment, she is a plant, a political plant into the GG's position. It's absolutely disgusting. I bet they want to dump the nuclear waste here straight away. We're already taking nuclear waste. We have been taking nuclear waste from countries for years and years and years. Would have to be the last 50 years at least. Now, that's buried deep underground in very secure areas. And no, I'm not going to tell you that. But we've been taking it. We get paid quite a lot of money to store many other countries' waste, nuclear waste. Has it affected you in any way so far? Did you know that we've been storing it for the last 40 or 50 years? If not, and you're worried about it, I hope that allays your fears somewhat. And if you think for one moment we don't have enough space to store this stuff, you clearly haven't driven much of the country, particularly in the regions where they currently do the storage, all deep underground as well. So allay yourself of those fears, because nuclear is the cleanest way forward for us all. And any clear-thinking person would know that, particularly with the technology that is available with nuclear power production these days. We have this, somebody mentions the word nuclear, and the first thing that comes to people's minds is a bloody great mushroom cloud. Now, all right, if we are to believe that nuclear is so dangerous, the radiation is so dangerous, and they tell us that, a nuclear explosion somewhere, a nuclear bomb dropped on the United States in New York will make, the East Coast uninhabitable for 10,000 years, has a half-life of 10,000 years. I don't know what that means. Something has a half-life of 10,000 years. Will it live 20,000 years? I don't know. There's probably a much more technical spec to that. But at the end of the day, it's a pointless statistic, because it's a fucking lie. How do I know it's a lie? Well, they dropped a nuclear bomb, supposedly, on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Not everything died. And many people have visited both those cities since that time. The half-life of 10,000 years doesn't seem to be too long at all. The Japanese started rebuilding Hiroshima and Nagasaki almost immediately. And they did so with lots of Allied help. It ended the war. And what happened? The Allies came into Japan, set foot on Japan, and started rebuilding the areas that had been destroyed alongside the Japanese. Actually happened. Now, those men that were sent into those areas, those irradiated areas, because they were on the ground cleaning up the mess at, ground zero, those blokes didn't die of radiation sickness within 4, 6, 8 weeks, as you would expect somebody who'd been so close to such a large thing. How do I know that? Well, I took one to a medical appointment some years ago. He was 84 and told me exactly what they'd been doing there. And he was just a grunt cleaning up. All they wore were their pants, too hot to wear shirts, and their hats. They were sailors and army. Nuclear power is the way forward, people. And Australia has been securing other people's waste for over 40 years, particularly French and Canadian. Now, they've been using nuclear reactors for that long, and in that time, they've been upgrading their reactors along the way. Why? Well, because that's what you do with infrastructure if you want to keep using it and your populations keep growing. But somehow, Australians haven't figured that out, because if we had, we'd be holding the politicians who refuse to look at this to account. I'm not going to tell you. Do yourself a small educational favour and go and look up the latest nuclear power generation technology, how small those reactors are, how little waste they produce, and how much electricity they produce. And you tell me whether by comparison, insignificant amount of waste that would come out of the new generation nuclear power plants would make any impact at all based on what we've been storing for the last 40 years. Your argument does not make sense. It is an old argument, and I would agree, back in the day, there were old, nasty, ugly nuclear reactors that had problems. There is a figure, I can't remember it, there is a figure for the amount of nuclear reactors in the world based on land. And it's many thousands of them, or some thousands of them. They all, obviously, outside of Australia, except for one. And that is a medical reactor in Sydney, which generates a lot of waste. Where does that get stored? Well, same place as all the other stuff, but it hasn't killed anybody yet. That waste is transferred out of, well, not the centre of Sydney, but in the middle of a very populated area. It's created there and it's shipped out of there. I don't mean on a ship, it's driven out of there. The waste is driven out of there through your streets on its journey to get put wherever they put it. Do you know that? Have you ever suffered any radiation sickness from it? Are you expecting a semi-trailer with a oversized, reinforced, lead-lined container to be shipping that waste out? You know, something 20 foot long, 10 foot high? No, nothing like that. Does get put in a special box, does get given a special person to hang on to that box. That box is put in a van, an ordinary van that nobody would notice. There are markings on the box to indicate that it is radioactive. The bus, the little van, may have a marking on it somewhere. I think it does for hazard stuff. But it's driven out through your streets in Sydney. Neville raises a bloody good point. Lithium batteries are probably deadlier than the nuclear cells. Well, if you watched this show a little while ago, you would have found those lithium batteries going off all over the place. Motorbikes blowing up as they're driving down the road, causing accidents, obviously, as a couple of people are going off the road and crashing. One poor bastard carrying a battery into an elevator and then it bursting into flames and it killed him, very sadly. So, yeah, not a really great kind of a technology that we want to be wrapping our heads around just yet. I don't think they've got it right. All right, folks, I've been going on for a little while. I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you have a very safe, happy, and wonderful weekend. Don't go out and do things that I wouldn't do. And remember, it is the weekend, so there'll be a lot more dickheads out on the road than usual.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!